What's up? It's your political free agents minute or minutes. It's me, John C. Bland II, and I'm here just to talk about big tech. So last week there was a big hubbub over big tech blocking the sharing of the Hunter Biden story. So we've covered the Hunter Biden story. I'm not going to go into details on these minutes, but check out the last couple episodes. There's one, but his emails from last week, and this one from this Sunday. So check them out for more context around it. But essentially, there was a story that came out from the New York Post, which we now know the one of the lead authors of the story didn't want his name put on it, and so they said he basically didn't feel like it was sourced well, and so that story ended up being published largely by Republicans, obviously, and Trumpers, or really anybody on the right, the conservative lean, and because of that, tech companies decided we're going to block the article, and this became a really big problem. Became a big problem because people believe big tech should be censored, should be controlled, should be operating in a way that they feel it should be operating. Basically, is what it boils down to. That's a very fluid concept. This is a major problem for me, at least. I'm coming from a different angle than a lot of people, but this is a major problem for me because, as someone who can build these sort of systems like Twitter or Facebook and have built things like this in the past, for the government to come in and want to control how I operate my platform is a problem, right? So, say for instance, Reddit. Reddit is wild out there with conspiracy theories and anything else you want. It also has really good information, and it has really good, subreddits for whatever you want, really. Cooking, it doesn't matter. Like, they have all this interesting sort of content. That's how they choose to run their service, and they should be allowed to do that. Twitter doesn't have as much of the same, right? So Twitter, you can get pretty much any content you want on there. But just like with other things, there are things that you cannot share on Twitter. You can't go out here and share, sexually explicit material on Twitter, right? But if this was Twitter, Facebook, and whoever else blocked it, blocking sexually explicit material, nobody would really be calling for all of this, right? It wouldn't be a big hubbub. If it was, the Democrats, crying about being censored and shadow banned and all this sort of thing, it wouldn't be this big hubbub over this. They wouldn't want to get rid of Section 230. And what is Section 230? Section 230 is what basically these sorts of services are protected by. And what it basically says in the short term is that these particular services are able to operate within the free market. It's to encourage the development of the internet, and it also allows them to block private, or excuse me, it's protection for private blocking and screening of offensive material, right? So whenever you start seeing that the Republicans are sharing out Hunter Biden smoking crack, and doing so off the butt of a woman, and cocaine off the butt of a woman, but smoking crack on a pipe and doing all these other things. When you see that sort of stuff come out, offensive material is very subjective, right? You may want the story out because it goes against the person that you're not going to vote for, right? You may want that out, right? But Twitter, Facebook, whoever, they have the right to block whatever material they seem fit. You don't like it? Go to Parlor, right? Like, go somewhere. Go find your own place, right? Just go. Like, the internet's vast. Start something. Create your own network. You don't even have to know how to code these days to build a social network. You can go out and download the full blown software and publish it on the site. Like, it's out there for you. I get it. You like Twitter, you like Facebook. You want to play in that sandbox, but it's not your sandbox. And for Republicans to come out and actually want to add more regulation to come, like, the small government people want to add bigger government oversight. Let that sink in. right? They want to add bigger government oversight. And I had a discussion with a friend who actually discussed this. And he said what he doesn't like about it, he's a Republican, what he doesn't like about it is that Twitter is trying to operate as a publisher, you know, like a publisher slash editor, and also just as a conduit for the material. Uh, I get it. I understand. Like it, for them to pick and choose what they want to show on their platform can be concerning. But the problem with this entire thing is it's not stifling anybody's ability to get a story out there. The New York Post article still existed on the New York Post website. If this was Xfinity blocking access to a portion of the internet, I got you. I get it. It makes sense. Like if the ISP, like the your internet service provider, is keeping you from accessing material on the internet that is not deemed illegal, like child porn and stuff like that sort of thing. If it's not doing that and is blocking just something that it chooses to block, I get it, right? Deal with the ISP in that case, right? Like that's a different set of circumstances. But if Twitter's just not letting some random article show up on your news feed or keeping you from posting said article, that's not the same thing. Your free speech is not being stifled. You're not you're not a victim, right? Like the people who cry about this victim mentality, you're not a victim. You're not. You can go get that material anywhere on the internet that you would like. It's out there. It's ready for you. So what's happening from this? Well, of course, what does the government decide to do? Oh, we need the big tech CEOs to come in and testify before the Senate. For what? A couple years ago, when Zuckerberg went to testify, he testified, and they basically asked him, "Would you mind coming back and helping us shape these laws?" Like, I mean, you want to excoriate the guy, but have him help you shape some laws around certain things, right? Like, what kind of sense does that make? So Jack chimed in. Jack is the CEO of Twitter. Now, all these other tweets down here, I don't. They are what they are. Um, but this tweet here from Jack is the primary tweet we're looking at, and Jack basically stated they are, they went the wrong direction here. Blocking of URLs was wrong. They updated their policy, and they also have an approach now to add context to it. Cool. If that's how you want to run your site, that's how you want to run it. See, the thing people misunderstand here is this is how business has always operated. Like, this is just it. If Twitter existed in 1940, there would be a whites only portion of Twitter. Why? Because Twitter would basically bend to the will of the people or its customers, let's say. It would just bend to the will of its customers, right? And that's just is what it is. Not every company back in the day, believe that there should be a whites only pie or whites only water fountain. They didn't believe that as a whole 100%. And I'm talking about the white business owners. That it was not 100% that believed that, but the cultural norms of that time, it was just straight up white supremacy, right? So because of that, businesses changed to fit the need. Same thing now. Twitter's operating for its customers. Facebook as well, Google, everybody, they're all operating for their customers. When that shifts and it goes in a different direction, so will the business. Because otherwise, they lose out on their customer base. That's all it boils down to. And it doesn't matter who the customer is, who the loudest, who the most important customer is to that company. They're going to bend to the will of that customer because if they walk, they're out of business. That's basically it, folks. That's the way it works. That's business. So you may not like what Twitter did. You may not like what Facebook did. It is what it is. Your First Amendment is still intact. Go to WordPress.com, create your own site, publish whatever you want. You can do anything you want on the internet that is within the laws. But don't be mad because somebody else chose not to let you do whatever you choose to do on their platform. It's not yours, it's theirs. We're out.